The Lucid Air GT is all of the luxury and all of the power and all of the lucidness, short of the Sapphire, which is the high performance model. But I don't want you to think that this is not a performance model, because the 0 to 60 is like 3 seconds, and it's what, 800 something horsepower and torque?
819 on the horsepower and 885 pound-feet of torque on the Air GT. There are 4 trim levels of the Air. They have introduced the Gravity, but the Air is still just getting out into the public consciousness.
In many ways, yeah.
When people see one, there's a lot of questions because the styling is rather distinctive, and the closer you look, the more details reveal that this is no ordinary car.
Yeah.
It is large, it's heavy, it's an EV with a lot of range. This is the 2025 version. And this GT is, short of the Sapphire, incredible power and incredible range.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive. Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
Up to this point, I have always had that trepidation, that fear, the range fear.
Sure, yeah.
But this is the first EV that I've driven that I don't feel the immediate fear because of its ability to take on a charge and the range that it has. With a 118 kilowatt battery pack, all that power, it's fast, it's quick, it's the long distance champion right now, I think, for EVs, is it not?
It is the EV long distance champ. We've actually got an EV long distance road trip we did with this and other cars to show just how well this does. Lucids prior to this one got over 400 miles. This one is capable of breaking 500 miles on a charge. Now, I've said it forever, I think it's recharge anxiety, not range anxiety, that we're really dealing with if we get the charge back fast. But that brings me back to this car, which can take an incredibly fast charge. We hooked it up to a 350 kilowatt charger, which right now is free because your first year is free.
Right.
Those chargers are very expensive when you're paying for them. However, they are lightning quick. In about 15 minutes, I had half a battery, almost 300 miles of range showing on the dash in 15 minutes.
That's quick.
You are literally plugging it in and forgetting about it while you run your errands and coming out to a car that's ready to do 500 miles. At that point, yes, EVs make all kinds of sense. And this is the first time I've actually experienced, I would say, the entire ecosystem working like you would hope.
The nirvana that everyone talks about.
It's powerful, it's comfortable, it's very nice to drive, but it charges very quickly when it's down after you have a huge range. That's all the stuff we've been claimed as EVs are going to do all this.
Yeah,
this is the first one I've done that's done all of that as well as this.
We've heard from many people that people that have friends with EVs are getting tired of their friends taking them for a ride and jamming the throttle just to show what it can do.
Yeah.
At this point, do we all know that EVs are quick because of the electric motors? We know that, right? And at this point, with the Lucid, I feel like the tide is turning. We're no longer selling EVs based on how quick they are. We're now selling EVs based on range. The torque, the speed is still going to be there. We always know that.
Absolutely, yes.
But now we can finally get to the range and the rapid recharging, which is the whole benefit of EVs. That's the whole point.
There's no reason that you have to have more powerful than this. And this isn't even the most powerful one. The Sapphire is.
The Sapphire's over 1,000 horsepower.
When you have a chance to put your foot all the way into this, it explodes forward.
I've got to be in my different drive mode. So right now we're in smooth, swift, and sprint. And then you get 2 levels of regen per drive mode. Right now, I am working the pedal myself. And I really do not like the pedaling. Because it is firm is an understatement. It's hard to push on. And it's not that it's hard to push on, it's keeping your foot in place. Because over time, I started to feel it back here in my loins.
Did you really? Okay.
From just pushing on the gas. Now, it's very sensitive. A slight movement will change you from acceleration or holding constant speed to instant regen. And the car instantly slows. So you have to have firm pressure at all times to be able to modulate it constantly, which gets tiring in 11 seconds. I really don't like it.
It's interesting that you bring that up because you're absolutely right that that's the case. And I want to clarify first off here, we have the regen turned down. There is a standard mode and a high mode. We have it in standard mode to back it off, because the high mode, it's like somebody is physically pressing hard on the brake every time you come off the accelerator. It is kind of extreme. So we have it in standard mode. Even there, the thing is, you are having to apply constant pressure and it's not just pressure, you have pushback at all times.
Yeah, oh my gosh. All right, so I've changed to sprint mode. I feel a pass coming on if everybody will recognize the Lucid Air in their rear view.
They won't recognize. You're too subtle. You're in this gray color. Nobody has any idea what they're dealing with right now. Yeah.
This is absurd. It's absurd power just going 60.
It's lurking underneath everything in this
constantly.
Car. Yeah,
lurking.
It really is. You've got a hole there if you want. Oh, look at the Kia. Yeah.
Fry my brain.
I mean, it is. We laugh because it's ridiculous. That's really why we laugh. It's just there isn't any point to what you said earlier. There isn't any talking about. Did you know EVs are fast? But 5,200-pound vehicle here. This weighs more than a lot of SUVs. It is a large car with a ton of space, front and rear, really good space. I have actually hit my head on the pillars getting in because the pillars are kind of low.
And it makes for good styling.
Absolutely, and it contributes to a coefficient of drag under 0.2, which is the holy grail of coefficient of drag styling, and that is astounding in and of itself.
I really like it, except for the gas pedal. The throttle. What are we calling it now?
The accelerator, yes.
Accelerator pedal. That is a multi-syllable word to describe the pedal.
Yes.
Why do we need that?
The way around it is, and what I think they're expecting you to do, is to set your cruise control, which honestly is a little bit fiddly. You set your cruise control with this little roller over here, and then you set it for smart cruise control that is adapted to the traffic around you. Then you never have to hit the accelerator because it's constantly gauging it for you. Once you get it set there, now hit that straight in. Push straight in.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
I see. Yeah.
And then you don't have to have that constant pressure. They're counting on that. They certainly are, because otherwise you're driving along with constant pressure. And you were joking with me earlier that it doesn't bother me because I'm used to driving in a lease with constant pressure to keep it at freeway speeds.
But your lease pedal is not this hard.
It isn't. It really isn't.
And when you let off, there's some coasting.
Yes.
And that makes it normal.
This needs a full coast setting, which some EVs have. We need a full coast setting, and I have not been able to find it if it's there. So if it's there, I apologize, but I have not been able to find a coast setting. Plus, we have an EV expert with us, and they aren't aware of it either. That would be lift off the accelerator and the car coast like a normal gas car. I much prefer that, but that's not the way EVs are calibrated right now.
This is nice, now that I don't have to push on the pedal.
Absolutely.
And yes, the car wants to do it for me. Can I... There, no.
You just keep dialing back the amount of distance.
Yeah. See, then you fight the car. I really...
It has fairly aggressive lane keep assist and that kind of thing. I don't really like the way it executes a lot of that. The adaptive stuff is frustrating in this car.
Yeah, the lane keep assist is... I have not yet found a natural setting for any coder to understand that you don't have to be center lane at all times. Because no one, and I mean no one, drives like that. I like the Lucid. It's the details that keep me from really loving it. I like that it's not a Tesla. I like the range. The power's amazing. The styling is actually quite beautiful from every angle. I do not like the windshield.
Okay.
Being a man of low follicle count on top.
You were not a fan of the oven door anyway?
It is a magnifying glass, frying me. But even if I didn't, I don't like this. I don't like being under the sun constantly. I want to change it. Now, it was nice. We had some nice bridges here in Washington, and it's nice to look up and look at the structure, or there's an aircraft or something, and you can see the scenery, and I get it. It puts you in the world. Now, to achieve this, Lucid has to build these sun visors that simply glue on. Would you like to show the people what you have to do to get a lighted mirror that is not attached to anything?
Since you have a lighted mirror, you're supposed to have a lighted mirror for the thing here. Hang on, there's, these are watch batteries that plug into...
powers the light for your
Somebody solved
standalone.
that, so I can have a lighted mirror, so I can see me with lights. But we think the batteries are. Oh no, it's working today. We thought that they were.
Oh, really?
Faded, but there they are.
Okay.
And I can look at me and see that I still look like I always do. There's that. But yes, so somebody has the job of sticking these little pyramids onto the glass to have this at all. But because you have a floating mirror, it's not connected to anything. You got to have watch batteries for light. These are the way to solve stuff. It's cool. I think this is awesome, but I understand why you don't like it.
If we could just have an option for pulling a sunshade, that's an easy solve.
Yeah.
But tinting is not doing it.
That could pull to here and connect to another part of this, I guess.
Easy solve.
I mean, this is, let's be honest, forget the drivetrain for a second. This is just trying to be a fantastic executive sedan, and it achieves it. I'm talking 7 Series or A8 Audi or the S-Class. It's competing with all of those and doing very, very well. Now you make it electric. I think it is better than the electric versions of those executive sedans, but I think it is competitive with any of the gasoline ones as well. This is $130,000, and it feels like a nice executive massage seat.
It feels like a
place to be.
It feels that
It
expensive.
does. Now, there are places in the interior where I am aware of the fact that this is a vehicle that starts at 70. There's a few places. One of them for me is the actual door latch here. When you pull on that, that is a surprisingly cheap feeling part for something you're going to touch every single day.
Open pore wood.
But yes, the
Alcantara.
wood is great. The Alcantara is very nice. They have a really kind of fiddly screen here. If you want to adjust stuff on the screen, the actual non-CarPlay stuff, because that works normally, you have to swipe it down to the lower screen, adjust it, and swipe it back up.
Yeah.
If you do things like navigation. That's a little weird. Lucid is actually changing that and going to just this upper screen.
Have you done this yet, where you accidentally close the
Where
thing?
you can close the screen, which is actually pretty cool.
It's cool,
You get
but
more
a little bit
storage,
of
but you can do it by
weirdness.
accident. Yep.
Now, how does it drive? It's sensitive, but you can feel the weight of this car, and nothing about it feels sports car-like.
That's just because it's too big.
It's too big.
It's way too big.
Too heavy.
Yeah.
And the steering is not designed to make it have a sporty, engaging experience. It's not high in the list of Lucid. It's fine, but for me, it doesn't feel like a fun car to drive.
I agree with you, but I drove this on our big road trip film a lot, and I will say there's one thing I'm very impressed with. This is not an air suspension car. This is a steel spring and damper car, and it does have adjustable changes with the dampers, whether you go smooth, swift, or full sprint mode. And whoever is doing that knows what they're doing, because they've figured out a way for this large car, large footprint, large weight, they figured out body control well. So it doesn't feel sloppy or unwieldy when you put it in the upper levels, and it's nice and soft in smooth. So there's very good chassis calibration here, but to your point, it's not agile because it's just big.
No. If you are a buyer, check out autotempest.com/everyday so that they know we sent you, and you can find Lucids on there, because you can check not only used cars from every site, but you can check dealer inventory all over the nation. You can choose anywhere. So type in Lucid and you're looking for the Air and you're looking for the GT. Autotempest.com. All the cars, one search. The interior is quite beautiful, very original to me. The IP here is a clean, beautiful shape, and it floats above the instrument panel.
Yeah.
So it feels minimalistic, but it feels like just enough information, but not trying to bury you with screens, even though the whole point here is screens everywhere. And the seats are brilliant.
They are really good. Yeah.
For $130,000, they should be brilliant.
They need to be.
So
Do you want your massage?
Oh yes, massage.
Because I turned mine on already.
You have multiple settings for massage.
Some of them just vibrate the seat.
A little bit too violent.
A couple of them feel like, you know, when you have the really bad vibrating bed at a questionable motel, if you've ever been to that. Some of them feel like that, but a few of the others are excellent.
It's a little bit buzzy, but otherwise, just the options of having heated, cooled seats, the massage.
Yep.
Interior is quite first class, and it does put a lot of other cars to shame. Materials, design, execution, this one nails it. It's quite good.
It's the things that the Model S, and in fact people from the Model S project created the Lucid. Things from the Model S done better and made into what I would describe as a true luxury car in a way that the Teslas can't be. Because they are selling minimalist as luxurious, because that means they can make them cheaper. This feels like very few expenses were concerned. They were just like, let's do nice materials and make it feel like a special place to be. These door sills are low. There's a ton of light. It doesn't feel like a torture chamber, and it doesn't feel like they took stuff out and then told you it was minimalist, and that means it's luxurious.
Exactly.
This is luxurious, full stop, no question, while still feeling modern too.
Yes, a nice mix of buttons, things to look at.
Yep.
Your eye needs to fall on some things, and none of the Teslas have any of that.
The screen, they just want you to look
it's
at
just
the
screen. There's nothing there. But some things on the Tesla might work better, but the execution and the UX here is actually quite nice. So this only leaves us with the question of why people aren't buying these. I mean, they are, but it just seems like Lucid is constantly struggling with sales. Is it simply the small things that are bugging people enough to not buy the car because there's so much to like here? Range, power, styling, build quality.
I think it might just come down to when Lucid came to market. If Lucid had come to market when Tesla did, I think their fortunes would have been reversed. Tesla got away with being first and seeming like a novelty and seeming like this future-looking thing that was going to save us all, and so it got this groundswell of interest behind it way beyond, look at the stock price, way beyond what was actually being produced.
Yeah.
Now, for lack of a better way to put it, the realities, pro and con, of EVs have dawned. And it has changed Tesla's sales. Tesla isn't blowing it out anymore. It has really equalized the market. Many EV companies have died. So the reality is it's a much harder market for EV makers in general. And into that enters Lucid with an excellent product, but they don't have any benefits of perception. And I don't think that most people are shopping EVs. And that is the issue for a company like Lucid.
Because Tesla is the de facto standard, just because they were first means any other EV isn't worth looking at? Is that what this means? Because you should buy a Lucid over a Tesla. They're a lot more expensive. They can go up in price quite a lot, but this is superb. If I'm looking for an EV, this feels like what an EV should do. I don't have to make excuses for it.
It feels worth it. The problem is that most of the people that I think were buying six-figure EVs have already. So now we're talking about somebody buying their next EV or somebody that might one day buy an EV. The market is squeezed right now, and I think that's the place that Lucid has entered in the wrong place with a very good product. But it's not for everybody.
No,
both
it's
in
not.
price and in just lifestyle, it's not for everybody. It's just this is executed how I've wanted EV executive sedans to be.
So you're saying early EV buyers shouldn't have gotten that Tesla tattoo quite so soon on their arm to like join the team, and that's your club? Because it might change. You might need a good tattoo artist to change it into a lion or something.
Can you change the T of Tesla into some part of the Lucid word? I don't think that works. Let's just not go with card name tattoos. Let's just do that. There's none of those.
This is a good car. I like it. I'm not sure I would buy it, though. I'm trying to put myself in an EV buyer's shoes. And this bugs me. The pedal really bugs me. There's some changes that would have to happen. So maybe Lucid needs to keep trying. They're almost there.
If I were buying an executive sedan, this would be on my list to seriously consider.
Yes.
And that's the thing. I'm not that buyer. But gasoline, electric, hybrid, don't care. If I were buying an executive sedan, I would take a serious look at Lucid. It's competitive on price, it's competitive on range, it's competitive on luxury. You have to ask yourself, how are you using this? Can you charge it at home so that then you would feel like you have an executive experience? You unplug it at your house, you do all your things that make you feel like an executive in your executive sedan, you come home, you plug it back in. And it's luxurious in between with plenty of range. I think it executes very well on that. I'm just not the buyer for it. And I don't think there's enough buyers to support this brand, and that concerns me.